We are live. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all the Mob Crew fam out there. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch the show. Let me make sure my settings are good before I start rambling on. Okay, good deal. It's working. Awesome. All right, guys. Again, happy holidays. We'll be covering Sebastian Rogers' case. We're starting a little earlier because obviously it's Christmas Eve, and I know a lot of people are gonna be doing stuff with their families. So just trying to get in a quick, probably 1 hour show to get over a few points, and we'll go from there. Maybe do a show tomorrow for the members or something. We'll see what happens. But of course, thank you guys so much for the amazing support. I do have a goal up there. We don't have to reach it at all. It's not necessary, but I do have this sweater that I'll pull out at the end of the show because it seems like everybody got a kick out of that. But let's get going. As always, we'd like to get back by featuring missing people at the beginning of the show. So before we talk about Sebastian, there's always plenty of more missing people out there that need the, same kind of attention. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. But we have Zachary Smith Sr. I featured him once before. He's 48 years old at the time he went missing. Brown eyes, gray hair, stunning looking guy there. 5'10", 180 pounds. Zach was last seen about 1:15 early morning hours of Sunday, December 8th. So he's been without his family for, about two and a half weeks, 3 weeks now almost, sadly. He was last seen near his home off Highway 97 in Wind Ridge Drive in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. So if anybody's out that way watching the channel, it also says in the notes they believe he was wearing a black shirt and ball cap, which is, I'm assuming, why they took these photos here. And he also had something, a yellow Corvette, which was recovered, they said, on Indian Nation Turnpike around southbound at mile marker 94 near Highway 9 exit. Has not been heard or seen since. If you have any information, you can call the number down there, 918-312-6344. Once again, that's Zachary Smith Sr. without his family in the holidays right now. If anybody's in Oklahoma, please be on the lookout for Zachary Smith. All right, let's get going, guys. A huge shout out to Jennifer Coffindaffer. She was on yesterday. I was stuck in traffic. There was a nasty wreck. Nothing fatal, thank goodness. But I was coming back from an appointment, and it took just way too long getting back to prepare a show for you guys yesterday. So that's why we're kind of doing a makeup show today. Let me get this ready here. So, all right. So I got a couple of things prepared. Like I said, I'm going to try to go about an hour, maybe just a little over, get a few points across. I'm still working on a few other things. Apparently there's some more. I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat. I saw Dog put a post on a YouTube channel, which I think is a new YouTube channel. Matter of fact, right here, claiming, it says final footage of Sebastian Rogers. Now, I don't know if any of this footage is new. To me, it looks mostly the same as what we've seen. I haven't been able to examine the entire thing. If anybody knows in chat if there's like more to it, if this is new or if this is just footage that he just put on his YouTube channel to kind of get it going. Because as you can see, Official Dog, the Bounty Hunter channel, which clearly is a new channel. He's only got 1,000 subscribers, but I'm sure that will change pretty quickly. But anyway, let's get going here, and let me widen this out for a second. Same, not new. Okay, thank you, Mama. I appreciate it. It's the same. Okay, all right. Because I was like, oh man, do I gotta? Because you guys know how much I love breaking down footage. And I'm like, man, did I miss? I've been working on a video for you guys, and there's like new footage out, and I'm missing out, but I'm glad you. Thank you guys in the chat. All right.
Corner house.
Okay. I know you've seen this. This is the debunk video real quick. I'm just going to play this for a second so I can make sure the settings are going well. And because actually I forgot to hook up my landline real quick. So I'm just going to play this. This is just part of that debunk video that I put out. But I promise you, I've got new stuff we're going to go over that I put together. So let me just play this for a minute. This is obviously me debunking the PI team because, again, if you're going to go out there and, be a PI and then you're going to put out stuff to the public that is a blatant lie in the name of Sebastian Rogers' case and double down and keep doubling down, I'm just going to continue to embarrass you because it really upsets me because you are literally taking time out of me researching stuff that I would love to research, but I need to debunk this stuff because it's nonsense, and I've got more. So, but anyway, let me play this for a second.
You can even see how the lights line up as a fade in and out the overlay.
And I'll be right back.
This is a terrible and despicable act to put out a false narrative by a team who literally had a PI, Shill Fisher, who even though has been debunked multiple times, continues to be caught in countless lies, all in the name of Sebastian Rogers. Shill Fisher literally claims in this post that the quote-unquote lights video was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10 a.m. He was even kind enough to release some footage of the garbage truck going down Kellen Avenue. Well, let's take a look at that video and point out some very serious issues with Shill Fisher's statement. We can clearly see that it is getting lighter out, and it is not as dark. Note that the time is about 5:09 and 55 seconds, which means it's almost 5:10 a.m., which means the trash truck should be turning onto Stafford Court. Yet there is two major problems. One, if this mysterious lights video is taken at 5:09 to 5:10 a.m., then we should be seeing the trash truck turning onto Stafford in this footage. Also note the difference between the lighting in this surveillance footage compared to the mysterious lights video. How come the lighting is so dark compared to the Kellen Avenue footage? Why would a PI allegedly hired by the Proudfoot put out such a blatant lie and then claim others are the ones who are producing the false narratives? Was this by design to keep you from questioning what really might be going on in the surveillance footage, such as possible abduction of Rogers caught on film? Now, I'm not finished exposing this shill. This person needs to be held accountable for his actions. In his Twitter post, he claims that the field of view from the camera
this is
angle...
perfect, because we're going to pause on here, because, again, I want to spend time on actually, doing some research in this case and not spend my time debunking this guy, and then you get others who more or less take my work and then, post it and, try to claim that it's something that it's not. And then he goes on to... this guy here, Fisher, then, puts out a tweet saying, oh, look at this great video that this woman put out where she literally just basically took my work. She didn't actually take my video, so I'm not claiming, she stole the actual work, but basically she just took what I did and redid it and then said, oh, look, see, this proves it. But, of course, anybody can see through it. Anyway, I wanted to quickly shout out Miss Melissa. Been in my chat for a long time, sharing her 57th birthday. If you can, happy birthday to you, Melissa. God bless you. That's awesome. If you can, get some happy birthday wishes in the chat for her. And thank you, Stacy. And I'm trying to go quick because I know you guys probably have stuff going to be going on. Heidi, thank you so much for the $4.99. Yep, Stacy, I got you. I'm going to try to go fast because I want to get to these points real quick.
That is clearly on the Stafford Court Road. Also with what is involved in Sebastian.
And keep in mind
so
the
again,
video.
if by chance you haven't seen this debug video and you'd like to, it's there on my channel. It's not part, I have live shows and then I have regular videos. And it's under the Sebastian Rogers playlist there. But anyway, let's get into the new stuff here. All right. Just because I just can't help myself but to debunk more of these guys, because there's more things that I could, break down, but I'll show one more thing that I'll break down here. Two things actually, just because I can't believe that this is a PI backing this stuff up in the name of Sebastian Rogers. So we take the original footage, right? Now, why did I have to, for anybody in chat, why did I have to do that right there? Why did I have to turn the angle? Well, I'm sure you guys probably know. You guys are smart. But that's because the camera, the original camera, the way it was pointed angled down. So now it makes the driveway look up, and it's pointed at a certain angle. And so basically obviously the vehicles, if I were to look at it, before, the vehicles look like they're going uphill, even though they are kind of on a hill a little bit. But again, to actually straighten everything out, we need to turn it, right? Well, of course, when they took their photo, they didn't do that. They didn't take it angled down, right? Revealing all that stuff, in the neighborhood beside this homeowner's house, which would not be in original footage. But the reason why I wanted to do this here, this is one of the other things that I didn't get a chance to do, is because when you back it up, so here is me overlaying the original, right? Because this is how they were trying to say. So when you take it, right, and you go, oh, wow, like, look, and it actually looks pretty good. I'll be honest. And this is where the one chick, I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, like, look, this proves this is it. But, then we have an issue, because we have one photo where the vehicles are level with the camera view, as seen here, whereas the security footage, they're down on an incline because of the camera angle. So that's why I have to now turn it. But of course, when they overlaid it, they didn't turn it, because obviously that wouldn't look right. So now it almost flips what looked right upside down on its head. Because, if you're going to, try to 1-to-1 it, right, you've got to have them both level, right? Wouldn't that make sense? But now, of course, now they're kind of lopsided and don't look right. Again, just, I could spend days debunking these guys. I do actually have a little bit more. I did forget, but I want to get to the point right here.
Information leading to the location and return.
So let's just remind everybody
about that $50,000.
What the FBI said. Late summer time? Was it late summer, I believe?
And Nicole, when this group learned about that $50,000 reward, they cheered and said progress like that is what they have been pushing for. The FBI is asking for information leading to the location and return of Sebastian, or the conviction and arrest of those responsible for his disappearance.
Conviction and arrest for his disappearance. That is from the FBI field of Memphis. FBI field of Memphis, putting out a $50,000 reward. Obviously, back in, I think it was late summer, and putting also those words out there.
Right now, there are about 15 people outside the Sumner County.
Which I think we can read between the lines. It's saying that they believe, pretty sure they believe he was abducted. Now, was it an inside job or an outside job? Again, it's not my job to point out the fingers or point fingers, but we are going to just point out some things and look at a couple of videos. And I do have some new stuff, like I said. But again, here it is in writing. FBI Memphis Field Office announced Monday that anyone with information leading to the location return of the missing teen Sebastian, or to the arrest and conviction of those persons responsible. I mean, that's pretty black and white to me. That they don't think this kid walked off barefoot. When you have all these cameras situated around the neighborhood, which we will look at as well. Let me see. Justice for Crystal McCrory. I'm so sorry, I butchered that. Can you look at my sister's case, the Crystal McCrory Jones? The news article is in the Google search. I will write it down. I can't promise you. I will spend my time, like researching the case, like deep diving, like I would Sebastian, because, I can only focus on one case at a time. But I'd be happy to at least write the name down. And is it your sister missing? At the very least, we can get her name out there. And what I'd like to do is attach big cases to smaller cases, such as this one. So, yeah, I'd be at the very least happy to at least look at it. What I basically was trying to say earlier is, because I'm focused on the Sebastian Rogers case right now, a lot of my time and focus is on this. But at the very least, I can mention your sister's name and at least kind of get it out there. At the very least, I can do that. Because I get requests all the time, and I wish I could, help everybody. But again, I'm just one person.
He wasn't here.
Okay. But I will definitely at least take a look at it.
Going through your mind at that point, like what were the feelings that you were feeling?
To censor myself. Holy freaking crap, this can't be happening. Where is my kid?
Okay. So I'm just going to play a couple of short clips, interviews. I promise you, this has meaning behind it. I know you guys probably have seen these interviews a million times, but I want to play something, and I promise you, it's on purpose.
Choice words were used.
And I'm going to go ahead and skip it a little bit forward and get right to the point, because I want to try to
all the doors and windows,
go
and
kind of
I was,
quicker.
Hollering his name, and I picked up the phone and I called my husband and I said, I can't find him. And he said, what do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house. I can't find our son. And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school, and he's already, at this point I was hysterical and I was crying.
I did want to spend a little time breaking that down. I know people have broken this part down, obviously what she said, she almost trips herself up, saying, oh, I called first. Oh, wait, no, I walked. Oh, wait, no, I was driving, clearly major red flags there, but I'm going to skip forward because I want to get to this other part here.
Screaming, and he was like,
oh, thanks, JoJo.
He three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them our son is missing and we don't know what's going on, and he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way. And I ran back, drove.
Also, when we were driving up here, this neighborhood is so pretty and nice.
Right.
And one other question I have.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to make my point right here. So listen to this. This is very interesting. Yeah, I will definitely, when I get a chance, that cough, and the three-way, I was going to talk about that a little bit, but we have so much to go over, and again, I don't want to go too long, but I want to get to this part right here. I promise you, this is good.
Is recently, Channel 5 in Nashville, they had security footage that showed 2 flashlights the night he disappeared. Is there anything that you think about this video, or?
Sure. So there's a lot of speculations about that video that are floating on the internet. Okay, and that is exactly what it is. It's speculations. Now, what I can give you an official statement on is TBI Newslink has released a statement from law enforcement, between local law enforcement, state law enforcement, some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over that everything that everybody is trying to assume is a flashlight, I hate to say this, it's not. As much as we would love it to be one, it's not. I'm not going to go into details as far as where that video is shot from.
Okay, major red flags there. But I promise you, when I'm playing you here, you got to listen to it.
But I can tell you, as the parents, we have seen the video firsthand from law enforcement. We know exactly where it was taken from.
Okay. So, according to our trusted Shill Fisher, well, these are garbage trucks, going by at 509 and 510, right? So, why would law enforcement need to show them garbage trucks, right? Am I right? If this was just something as minute as garbage trucks or somebody walking their garbage can out with a headlamp on when the light is already coming out, but again, why would they need to show the family this? Like, think about it. Think about that. Like, why would they need to show this family? They only do that unless there's something that they, think about Madeline Soto case. All right, remember when there was footage at the church, right? And they had the family look at it, the mother and stuff. And they're like, hey, because remember he supposedly dropped her off by that area over there. And unfortunately, I think they saw like a different girl walking and they thought it was her, And think about it. So why would they drag him in unless this, again, but there's more. But just truly think about that. If this was just minute, as our Shill Fisher here says, this is just, this garbage trucks, man. Nothing to look over, nothing to see here, folks. Right? Again, this was garbage trucks or garbage. We know these aren't garbage truck lights. These aren't garbage truck workers running through the backyards with flashlights. Again, why would they show the parents this footage unless unless they were confused about it and didn't know what was going on, right? But there's more. There's more. Let's listen to what he says. This is what really makes it so. This is why I have studied the living hell out of this.
There's a lot of speculations about that video that are floating on the internet. Okay, and that is exactly what it is. It's speculations. Now, what it can give you an official statement on, is TBI Newslink has released a statement.
Oh wait, hold on.
From law enforcement, between local law enforcement, state law enforcement, some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over. Law enforcement, between local law enforcement, state law enforcement, some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over.
Please, how many agencies studied a garbage truck? You're telling me all these agencies couldn't figure out that this was garbage truck this whole time? Think about it.
Law enforcement, between local law enforcement, state law enforcement, some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over.
Why?
And they have
Why? Why would they need to analyze a garbage truck when daylight's coming out? They'd be able to clearly make this. Come on, guys. Come on. And these guys, Shill Fisher and his team, literally they don't want you looking over that way. This is a garbage truck coming down the street. Come on.
Analyzed.
You've got all these agencies studying a garbage truck. Get out of here.
That video so many times over.
Get out of here.
And they have analyzed that video so many times over.
Tell us.
Here in an area behind the...
Okay. Now let's look at the common area. # common area.
the teen's
Steve
home.
Fisher and his team.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know.
Oh, I love that.
So yes, it could play a role.
Circled here in an area.
Okay, so let's listen to Nick Barris. As much as I would love to hear that quote of the century, we don't know what we don't know. Mr. Snuggle Struggle over here. I really do hope he's legit and he's not, because I don't like to say there's corruption, not to say that there isn't. I'd hate for this guy to be,
Ongoing.
But let's listen to what Barris says. Now listen, because I'm going to explain to you why what he says is very important.
Could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know.
So
yes, it could play a role.
Circled here in an area behind the teen's home.
Wait,
Circled
what?
here in an area behind the teen's
Wait, I didn't hear that. Say that one more time.
home. Circled here in an area behind the teen's home.
Behind the teen's home. That's right. When he's referring to the lights video, he literally says, circled here behind the teen's home. Now, how would he know that? Well, he's the one that got the footage. He went to the person that had the footage. And guess what? They told him exactly where that camera is pointing and where that stuff is going on. What do you think?
And they have analyzed that video so many times over.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Circled this area back here. Why would he show this area? He literally said behind the teen's home. Because he went to the homeowner. Clearly, he was the one that originally got the footage. The homeowner told him exactly where that area is pointed to. And that is why they knew all the way back then, when this case first started, where that footage was coming from. Come on, man. And you've got Shill Fisher trying to make you look over here, who is likely hired by Proudfoot. Allegedly. I don't know. If that doesn't raise major red flags. You got all these agencies studying a garbage truck video. Come on.
I'm not going to go into details as far as where that video is shot from.
Now, why would you not want to talk about that? You've seen the video. You know it's not a garbage truck because you know it's not taken at 5 a.m. because there would be light out. You'd see a big garbage truck coming through. So that's a suspicious activity going behind the night that your stepson goes missing. And unless, they were trying to play it off, and let's just say there is a minute chance that maybe it's an abduction that they're not a part of. And they're just playing dumb. It's certainly a possibility. I mean, you have to, everything, you'd still at the very least got to be on the table. But to me...
But I can tell you, as the parents, we have seen the video firsthand from law enforcement. We know exactly where it was taken from. And nothing that is being assumed right now is actually true about that video.
Very behind the team's own, yep.
Okay.
And anything about any other videos or anything like that, please refer to the TBI news link that they...
And you wonder why I have studied, and not just me, of course, the community, you guys as well have sent me stuff in. We've done it together, but that is the reason why I have looked at this, because this is suspicious activity. You've got a car that all of a sudden turns on its lights, which means it was sitting there. We don't have the full context, but clearly it was sitting there at one point with its lights off on the side of the road, not on a driveway. when suspicious lights are moving around in between this common area. I mean, that is no coincidence.
We have out there the updated Amber Alert stuff, and it will give you the most up-to-date information that all law enforcement has, and they will give you current as far as what's what and how they're looking at things.
And if there's any new video, forward it to them.
Please.
Thank you, Under the Scars.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Thank you.
What's going on and who's guilty and who's not guilty, because they want to know, or they feel they need to know. There's a difference. Unfortunately, what I will tell you is...
No, I just want to find Sebastian and solve the case, but, you know, it makes you raise red flags when you talk like this of like, hey, don't look over here. And then now we've got a PI team that is clearly, in my opinion, working on their side. And now they, like a magician, are telling you to look over here. Don't look over here. Look over here. Don't look over here. Thank you so much, kindly. And thank you so much, NJs. Or NJs. I'm sorry if I butchered that. God bless you guys. Merry Christmas to you guys all. We got more, of course.
That when you're the family in this position and you're working with law enforcement, all we have been vetted and we have been cleared. We have been vetted. Promise you.
Wait, what?
Every single parent has been vetted. I can't go into details, but I can tell you we have been vetted and we have been cleared of all possibility of wrongdoing, foul play. There's nothing to that.
And you guys know that's not true. They are not cleared. They have not officially come out and said they are cleared. There has been no written statement from TBI or any of them saying these guys are cleared. They may be assisting and working with. There's a big difference between working with and cleared. And I know people have gone over this, but that is BS. All right. Okay. So now let's just, I got a couple more things. Of course, I had to go back to these guys for a second. You know, I just couldn't help myself. Anyway, if you guys didn't see their video, it was amazing. Not really. But they tried to fool you by cutting these lines down and telling you that this camera's got a 75-degree field of view, which is about the only thing that I would about agree with. Some cameras, it kind of depends on the model. It is a 3.6 millimeter lens, typically 75-degree field of view. It's made for a 90-degree field of view. But then what they do is they start putting the lines in here because they basically want to show you, because you've seen the top-down view of Shill Fisher and where he said the camera couldn't, fixate, which was, the backyard of the Proudfoots of the common area. But you know what's so messed up with them doing this here is the original footage, or the footage that we have, of course, which is a recording of a recording. Well, we don't even have the full left side of the actual screen, right, of the camera, right? We could tell that by going up to the top left corner. We can see the 2 of 2024 is completely missing. So here they are trying to fool you by putting these lines down saying, oh, well, this is this much field of view, so if this is 17 degrees and this is 20, which means the other half can only be this much degrees, so you can't you can't see all that. But well, wait a minute, you're doing that when you don't have the original footage. You don't have the full view. You can't do that. That's cheating. You cannot do that. You cannot put these lines up when you don't have the full side. No. It irks me. It really irks me. And oh my God, I could do this all day long to these guys. And they continue. And they just continue. But you can't do that when you don't have the original footage. And say, oh, this is the field of view. And then I took out the measurement because I wanted to see what did he actually put, you know. And I'll be damned, he's got 60-degree field of view there. When this is 75 degrees, and let me tell you, each degree matters when it comes field of view. Each little degree matters. Okay, here's 75, right? Here's 75, which would be this camera. But look at him sneaking in there about 60 degrees. He says the other 15 degrees or something like that is pointed outside the house or whatever. Again, naughty. I hope they get coal. I'm sorry, but I hope they get some coal for Christmas because this is just disgusting. It's a 3.6 millimeter lens. It's made for 90-degree field of view, which is exactly how they put that camera set up. They had it so it kind of faced the wall a little bit, and it cuts into the wall a little bit because of that. And they also wanted to get the entire driveway. Because why are you going to get a security camera and you're only going to look at half of your driveway when you've got all these vehicles? No, you're going to get a camera and you're going to make sure that you get most of your driveway, if not all of your driveway, because that's what the camera's there for, right? So, again, why continue this raid? I have no idea. Okay, moving on to our next thing here. Trying to think here because I'm trying to go a little faster. I wish I could get everything that I wanted to get in today, but I know it's Christmas Eve, and I appreciate everybody in here. God, we've got 1,100 people in here. You guys are amazing. But I kind of want to. Again, they tried to tell us that this is 509 to 510, but I told you guys that we have about 2 minutes worth of video, over 2 minutes worth of video, but you would think that you would see a giant garbage truck running through the field of view, but that doesn't happen. I've already kind of gone over that in previous lives. So let's get to the other stuff here. And then he talks about that he knows about 2 vehicles at the 3 a.m. hour, which I find very interesting. And I know I mentioned this before, but, if you're trying to, get us on this whole 5 a.m. thing, why even mention 3 a.m. if, again, to me, that just shows that you're just going to trip over yourself. Anyway, let me get to... so my last live, I finally realized where that video is from. I'm sure people have probably figured it out sooner, but, they have camera footage literally across the street from the Proudfoot's home, which to me is huge. That is huge. But I want to talk about, give me 1 second here, guys. And I already showed you how I discovered it. This is pretty simple, we just kind of figured out which way the garbage truck would be going. And so it'd obviously have to be on the west side of the road because it's heading up. And then the only big tree tall as this with 4 big branches is this house, which is right across from the Proudfoots. And it makes sense. And then we look at it. And so this is the Proudfoot's home. All right, I'm going to get to chat here in just a second. And then I talked about the field of view because you can see from that camera, because it's a ring cam footage, And the field of view, because it's so far back, you actually capture quite a bit. And so obviously my last live, we talked about field of view. But I wanted to play a couple of clips, just like I did with the previous one. I want to play a couple of things that they mentioned in the Nancy Grace. And is it just me, or does it just look like if you were to take out the background, right, and took and separated their photos and heard that the mugshot photos came out of the Proudfoot, that this is what it would look like? I mean, I'm sorry. Looking guilty doesn't mean you're guilty, but my God, these people, I'm sorry, it's just not a good look. And I'm not trying to make fun of them, but like, it just looked guilty in this. It's crazy. And it looks like it would be from like mugshots. Anyway, just that, I'm sure people pointed that out.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement, because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand.
And we're gonna talk about that here in just a minute. I promise you. I'll pull these clips up for a reason. I know these have been played a million times, but I'm just pulling just a couple of snippets for you guys that we're gonna break down.
Miss Proudfoot, did you pass your polygraph?
I did. Inside.
That reminds me of another question. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Deborah Hart, thank
Did
you
they
so much for the
activate that
$10
night?
super sticker.
They're not motion censored.
Oh,
We have lights.
Were they
not
on that
motion
night?
censored.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they?
so wait a minute. What? Now they go and retract this, but listen to what they said originally.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the
Wait, let me
lights were
back-
out. Do you guys have a motion sensor light or lights on the outside of your house?
Yes, we do have lights on the outside of our house.
Did they activate that night?
They're not motion censored. We have lights.
Were they
not
on that
motion
night?
censored.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they?
I see a lot of lights up right now. I see the garage lights. Now I know that they end up now coming forward, but I just thought that was interesting that they say no. But there's all these lights, and even the garden lights, which we'll point out here in a minute.
On that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Were they on that night? So the lights were out the whole night?
Yes, ma'am. We don't typically turn the floodlights on.
Were there any lights outside the house on at all?
Just my little solar lights that we have in the garden.
So those would have
There's
been.
two lights on the side of the house above the garage that are on at all times.
Oh, yeah, those are on.
Now, she could have been mistaken and just forgot which lights were on, which, I don't know. You would think you would know which lights are on, because these are the normal lights that are on. But anyway, yeah, those are the garage floodlights, very bright lights.
Oh, there's a light above the garage. It's on at all times?
There's two. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so those lights were on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because I heard you say earlier, Mr. Proudfoot, that your neighbors have been very, very forthcoming with their Ring camera info. And I was
Yes,
trying to determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught. But I understand from your previous interviews that nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave,
So, not saying it's not impossible, but you would think if Sebastian came out, because this footage, according to them, recorded all night, and they're not motion censored, so these lights are on. I'm not 100% sure if this is the floodlight attached to the house. I'm like 50-50 right now, because I just showed you earlier, there are some look like floodlights. This is kind of on the right side of the house. That could be one of these. Again, I'm not 100%.
Nothing of any evidentiary video. We now don't understand, and I was trying to.
But I would think if he came out the front door, I think there is a good chance, not saying it's not impossible for him to sneak by these, but I would think if he went left or his right, that we would see something under these lights, just a little bit of movement. Not to say he couldn't still get past them, and maybe at certain light that maybe, it's possible he could get past them. But you would think with lights like these on both sides of the house that it'd be pretty hard for him to pass by. And we also know that obviously they've seen this footage. I'm pretty sure they've studied it and have not seen anything, which now tells me that the most likelihood is that he went out the back way. Now, by his own will or by some other force of nature remains to be seen, but that is kind of the point I want to come across, is now the back door.
Determine if any lights were on, what, if anything, they may have caught, but I understand.
Isn't it weird they did
from
use
your previous interviews,
right.
Nothing
Great
of
point,
any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was
awesome.
at all. We now don't.
That is so awesome, guys. Yes. If you guys are requesting to join her group, please, if unfortunately you can't put links in the channel unless you're a mod. But yeah, if you guys would like to join, if she's got a Facebook group, if that's what that is, if you guys would love to join that up, because yeah, there's plenty of missing people. I'm not sure, of course, the circumstances of your sister's case, but yes. God, imagine how amazing that is, just for a family to have a little bit of hope, because Sebastian Rogers obviously gets a lot of attention. There's so many, just like, Justice for Crystal, which sadly, there's just so many missing, so little makes it through to the mainstream. So that is awesome, guys. Please, if more people can. I can't imagine, a better gift than people showing that they care. That is so awesome. We have such an amazing community. Brown-eyed girl, thank you so much. Shadra, I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you so much for coming a member. Harley Ryder, Merry Christmas and mods. Chris, thank you for everything you have done for Sebastian. You are a rock star. Okay, hold on. Thank you, Harley. This community is
2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes. You're very correct.
2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes. You're very correct.
Oh,
2 flashlights were observed.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is the part that I wanted to get to. I'm sorry.
Understand from your
just got
previous
about 3
interviews,
more topics,
nothing of any evidentiary value was caught. And also, in another statement you gave, I understand that the video of the 2 flashlights, and I'm saying that with air quotes, that's not exactly what that was at all. We now don't believe that 2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes. You're very correct.
Listen to the way he answers, and that gives me goosebumps, because in a bad way. Major red flags, the way he says, let's listen to the way his reaction is to this.
2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes. You're very correct.
2 flashlights were observed around your home. Is that correct?
Yes. You're very correct.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door,
I
but
don't like
to
that
the
answer.
man doors.
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home?
So my question is, does anybody know in chat where I could find, because I've tried to look at most of their interviews, and I've had to listen to a lot lately. I could not find out. She asked them, we clearly know that the front door has, like one of the key code locks, which means that he if he went out the front door, it would just lock, which means, unlike like a regular door, if he went out and he didn't have his keys, well, then they'd wake up and see that the front door is unlocked, be like, oh, well, he went out the front door and left. But with this, in this case, this scenario, that's, but with the footage here showing that, it's pointed at the front of the house, meaning obviously we know that group, the PI group, it's got this footage, and I'm sure they've looked at it, and if they saw something wandering around, you damn well know that they would have posted like, oh, there's a little Sebastian Rogers, but we haven't heard that. So that tells me that he's had to gone out that back door or that crawl space. I don't know how you get through that crawl space. There's that weird little door. But now I wonder, is the back door the same thing? Is it a lock the same way? Is it you going through, is it just going to lock, or is this one where you actually have to lock? Because apparently he only left with a keychain flashlight, no keys, nothing. So if it was a regular lock, and yet if he went out on his own, then it should be unlocked, right? Because he didn't have a key to lock it. Unless it's kind of like a door where you push like a button or something before you go out. There's different types of locks. But I'd be curious to know what kind of lock they have on their back door.
Or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
Did the back door
And he
have
knows
a
that
back
code.
lock key?
Yes, ma'am.
That's interesting.
Question. Got it. Has he ever gone out the window before?
No, ma'am.
Is his room on the front of the house or the back of the house?
Front.
Front. Do any of your neighbors' ring cams point toward your house? Could they pick that up?
They do, but it's so dark that they can only see it. After it gets so dark at night, they can only see certain things where there's light.
Okay, I'm going to go over 2 more topics before we finish up. So about 20 more minutes. I know I said 20 minutes, but I'm sure it'll probably take 20 minutes. But I promise, two big things. But because you guys have been so awesome, I'm going to put on the sweatshirt. So because I'll forget, but I'm going to put it on. So let me put this full screen for a minute. And we're going to go over 2 more topics real quick.
Light.
I thought there were the 2 lights on.
On the opposite side of the house.
Please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you 2 sleep in the same bedroom?
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend.
You were not home.
No,
okay,
ma'am.
so where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is that?
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
Okay. Oh boy, man, I just stopped. Oh my gosh, I timed that perfect. Here we go. Okay. Yes, both locked. Okay, thank you, Michelle. I do know part of that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, you know what? There you go. Oh, look at D. That is awesome. We're gonna post that right. Oh shoot, I can't pin it from here. Okay, I'm gonna have to multitask. 1 second. What do you guys think? This, it's kind of funny. This is really more red, but for some reason it looks pink on the camera, which is kind of funny. But in spirit of the holidays. Okay, 2 more things. What he just said, I just wanted to point something out. So, let me find my video. How come I can't find my live right now? Oh, shoot. All right, I'll do this in a second. Here, let me play this. I'm trying to pin that, but I don't know why I can't pin stuff when I'm there. But that is awesome. Thank you, D, for posting that. I will see what I can do here in just a minute. But all right, so I want you guys to think about this. Again, this is just kind of speculating. All right, we're now in speculation territory. And then we got, again, 2 more things we're going to go over real quick here.
Questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend.
You were not home.
No,
okay.
ma'am.
So where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is that?
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
Man, I mean, remember how when they say, you know, sometimes criminals, I'm just saying, I'm not implying he's a criminal, but I'm just saying, you know, sometimes they give a little more details than are necessary, such as that, you know. I find this very interesting, that timing. So they get off the phone around midnight, right? Well, we know this footage wasn't taken at 5 a.m. We know that, right? There'd be sunlight out, okay? So he gets off the phone around midnight, right? Now, this video from multiple sources. This comes from multiple sources. This video is taken, because remember, there's a lot going on, because there's stuff that's moving between the yards. Then there's a vehicle that pulls up, and then something happens. And this goes on, you know, this is, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, right? And this is happening somewhere around like 3:15 to 3:30 a.m., right? Well, he just said that it took 3 hours and 37 minutes. Now, obviously, you know, when you have a drive that long, you could get there quicker or you could get there longer. Now, I'm assuming when you're driving back at midnight, allegedly, I'm just saying allegedly, I'm assuming you would probably make up some time than the other way around because, you know, not as many people on the highway. But isn't that kind of interesting, the timing? Just, you know, it just could be a strange coincidence. But again, just thought I'd point that out. You know, and because we know this footage is ending at 5 a.m. But it's more around like 3:15 to 3:30. Oh yeah, there's another thing that I wanted to point out. You guys notice what we have right here, and that is trash cans, right? Now, from what I understand, I'm not 100% on this. Now, if there's a local in chat that wants to confirm this, let me know. Yeah, they say 310. Now, you got to remember there is more that goes on. So it may start at 310s, but, you know. But I think you get what I'm trying to say, you know. Because obviously, if he's... You know where I'm going. Basically, the timing of that. So you could say it just took him about 3 hours to get back, you know, whenever he left. You know. But I'm just pointing that out. Anyway. Also, yeah, do you guys notice they got their trash cans up against the wall and it's trash night, right? Now, it's possible that this family just forgot to put out the trash on trash night, you know, which sucks. It happens to people. Or could it be that because this footage is taken around 3 a.m., that this homeowner knows that his trash truck driver is probably going to, you know, because they do kill an ab first, and they're not going to come down until about 5:10 a.m. onto their street. So maybe this guy's an early riser and gets up and puts out his trash can about 4:35, 5 a.m. Has anyone ever thought about that? That just maybe he, you know, is an early riser and puts out his trash cans before the trash man comes. Just a thought. I've used to let that. I've knocked about 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Sebastian's shoes?
Right.
Why are you convinced Sebastian left without shoes?
Right, because according to she'll investigate. These guys missed out on trash day, or is it just likely that the guy gets up early and puts out his trash cans? And no, they do not walk to. Everybody wants to point out and say no, because yes, they do go and walk, but they only go to the sidewalk. Now they will go grab trash cans for disabled people, but we know that at that house they're not disabled, or at least yeah. So anyway, just something to point out. Okay. A couple more things. Man, like I said, I don't want to go too much longer. So here's just an overhead look at some of the cameras, right? Remember where he put out Proudfeet, Chris Proudfeet said that, used the word ninja, which I thought was really odd. And then, of course, he's wearing all black, coincidentally, when he goes missing. Look at all these cameras. Now, these are the ones that I'm showing here, these 3 here. But I can guarantee you there's at least 2 more. Now, I put a camera here. Now, obviously, it's not over here. I do not want to show where this camera is at because this one particular camera is very important to the investigation. And we'll just leave it at that. But I can guarantee you, this neighborhood has some heavy coverage. And yet, no Sebastian walking or wandering barefoot around. But we do have the suspicious lights going on in this common area. And a strange vehicle caught on Kellen and Stafford. And now an investigation that is, in the FBI's words, more or less kind of alleging that this is some type of abduction. All right. Skip forward here. Yeah, so here's the backyard. Yeah, you're right. There's kind of like a double door type deal thing. There's kind of a, I forget what you call that. Anyway. Sorry, I'm kind of skipping forward here because I don't want to go much longer.
Be released.
Okay. It's 1.5 last thing real quick. And I'm going to read chat while you guys listen to this. This blew me away.
That is one thing that law enforcement asked not to be released.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I said that in an interview a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Deborah.
Law enforcement does not want that information out there. I am not releasing it. It's just know the last time I saw Sebastian was early February. Okay. Until I came home February 26th. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. I understand.
Now, this green hoodie guy, do you know anything about that? Can Katie explain, or can you explain why this gentleman was next to the car? What that actual, what was happening in that footage?
Can you put it again,
Is
Deborah?
that footage correct?
What I can tell you about that is law enforcement has talked to Katie. She's been able to answer all their questions. And once again, there is nothing to that situation. I mean, law enforcement even put out a statement. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing.
Right.
Oh,
no.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Deborah, I'm sorry, I can't. If you can put your question again, and I'll see. Hopefully, I can see it. You got. Just remember, I've got 1,300 people in here, and the chat goes so fast, and it's so easy to miss something. Anyway, now I.
All right, like let's just say there's some
Oh,
things
for
that
sure.
question, and that's natural. And I think Chris has already stated he understands that.
Yep.
He understands that people are going to have their spec.
What could be, what brings him home.
But at the same time,
speaking about,
I do have to say this. I'm true. You're like, my
story, get their viewership.
Okay.
That's what they
All right,
want.
this is my last thing I want to go over, and then we'll read a little bit of comments, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. So what are we at now? We are what? We are Christmas Eve. I forget the day count. Somebody knows. I know we're well into. I think we're what 300 or something like that. I think we're somewhere in there. Anyway, listen to what he says. So we're 10 months out, right? And let's hear what. Because Chris Proudfoot went on a podcast or YouTube channel not too long ago. And this is what he was complaining about, along with many other things. But this is something that just, I couldn't believe it.
Narrative on their show is to draw a story, get their viewership. That's what they want. Mm-hmm. It doesn't help the situation. I want people from coast to coast, border to border, to be able to hear it on a news. And not all local news networks do.
All right, Chris,
so we
you
need
tell
to
us.
get the big ones.
Hold on,
He wants
Chris.
the big ones.
Hold on, Chris.
Yes, we are currently trying. We are.
Hold on, Chris.
They're trying. So basically, if you missed this, what he was basically saying is he wants to get on like CNN. He wants the 60-minute Australia, one of those big ones, which, Dr. Phil, whatever. But then of course there's certain ones he claims are, like Court TV are just going to be biased or, they have their agendas. But so now he's saying that they want to get only on, these big ones to get Sebastian's name out there worldwide. Yet at any time, I'm sure if any one of these people, either one, Chris Proudfoot or Katie, went and spoke to one of these major networks programs, I guarantee if Summer Wells can get on, Summer Wells' parents can get on Dr. Phil, I'm pretty darn sure that these guys can get on the same exact program, even bigger. I cannot believe we're 10 months out, whatever, and he's literally acting like we needed the biggest, news group, CNN 60 Minutes, to get Sebastian's name out there, and we're looking. We are 10 months out, and now you're talking about that? 308 days. What? That is a joke, man. I'm sorry, but that's seriously. With how wide it is on the internet, these guys could get on any program long time ago. But in my opinion, they'll get picked apart because they know, they're going to get asked questions. They're going to get asked questions about the timeline because obviously, if you want to, solve something, you need to get the timeline, facts, evidence, and maybe you might remember something you didn't before. But as time goes on, your memory is going to start to fade. And you may forget things. Again, how did these people? This is the thing that. The thing I forgot to mention earlier, and I'm sorry, Deborah, if I missed your question. I'll see if I can try to get it before I leave. Is they asked her about the green hoodie, Chris Proudfoot about the green hoodie. And, he says, yeah, they talked to her, blah, blah, blah. And that was, it just kind of blew it off. And again, he uses the word no big deal. It's nothing. Well, how do they know that he wasn't abducted? Again, like I said, there could be a chance he was abducted, outside of the family. But it's like they never want to look at that angle, which to me is a major red flag of like, if you're not even going to entertain the abduction theory and these flashlights, then that there's something wrong.
Okay.
Until I came home February 26th. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. I understand.
Now, this green hoodie guy, do you know anything about that?
Hey, Molly, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas, happy
why this
holidays.
gentleman was next to the car? What that
Deborah, I'm
actual,
trying to
like,
find
what
your
was
question,
happening
sweetie.
in that footage? Is that footage correct?
What I can tell you about that is law enforcement has talked to Katie. They've answered, she's been able to answer all their questions. And once again, there is nothing to that situation. I mean, law enforcement even put out a statement. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing.
Right.
No, that.
Anyway, sorry, Deborah. I could not find your question. There's just so much chat going on. If you can try to put it in one more time before I go. Let me get to everybody. Last super chats. Again, thank you so much. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody. Gypsy, thank you so much for becoming a member. God bless you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Holly, you are brilliant. Thank you so much. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Angela, Merry Christmas, everyone. Prayers for Sebastian. Yeah, if you guys, and a huge shout out again, I know I shouted out at the beginning, but a huge shout out to Jennifer Coffin.
I mean, let's not even front because Chris is here. There's some shady shit.
You know, she shared some things that, I really didn't know what was allegedly going on at the house, with Sebastian himself and, his potty training. And apparently he kind of was regressing. And, man, it sounded like, of course we're not there. So we can't fully understand or know. But it sounded like it was a much worse conditions than I originally thought anyway. So, anyway, I wish there was a little bit more to go over, but again, I just think it's ludicrous that here you have Chris coming on, saying, oh, we're trying to get on these major networks. That's what we've been trying to do. And it's like, you've been waiting 10 months to do this when people have been, you've been on Court TV, you've been on all these, everybody's talked about Sebastian Rogers' case. Of course, I'm sure anybody would cover this case as big as it's been on, in the national, national news and stuff like that. Yeah, 5 CPS reports, 1 open right now. What is that about? But thank you so much, Karma. So anyway, if you missed the first part, I promise you, go back. I really tried to point out why you have all these law enforcement agencies coming out of Chris Proudfoot's own mouth, looking at these lights, studying these lights, having them look at these lights. Yet you've got these people trying to claim this is just a simple garbage truck. But yet you have all these agencies looking at a garbage truck. It sounds so ridiculous. So anyway, with that, I digress. Thank you to the wonderful mods. You do such an amazing job. I still got to get to a few of you. And thank you to those guys that joined the Crystal Facebook group. That is so sweet. Thank you guys so much. And Deborah, I tried to look for your question and I can't see it. Ask if you heard anything. Oh, there we go. I found it. Ask if you heard anything different about the dogs running the same way as the flashlights. The only thing I heard is what Chris Proudfoot released to Narc Divers, which, I did do kind of a video on that. I thought it was interesting that even Chris Proudfoot's own words, I'm trying to find a top-down view here. he says that they go diagonal through the yard, and he literally says from our yard diagonally to the yard, meaning that he went this way, like the dogs went this way, then from Kellen went up. And I thought that was so interesting that is literally the direction, in my opinion, the lights are diagonally going. And for Chris Proudfoot to literally say the dogs go from the side of the yard, then they go diagonal back towards Kellen, cutting through the common area. But other than that, I haven't heard anything else about any other dogs. So with that, God bless all of you guys. And thank you guys so much for the support. Leslie and Billy, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Maybe we'll get some snow here in Utah. I prefer it up in the mountains myself, though. All right, guys. Patreons. I got videos coming out tomorrow for you guys and members and Patreons as well. Another great way to support the show. And Peyton, thank you so much for the PayPal. Gosh, I forgot about PayPal. Anybody did PayPal or Venmo, thank you so much. Let's get some pets going. With that, I'm going to put on the rest of my outfit. I'm out of here, guys. Merry Christmas. It's funny because this is really red, but it's because of the white and the red. It makes it look really pink, but it's not. It's red. It's funny. Anyway, God bless you guys. It is a woman's shirt. It is. I do got a crop top going on, but you're only one show. All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Love you guys.